In watching Iran and Israel fight for power, do we forget that the greatest power is not domination, but the discipline to walk away from destruction? What do you call a world that has mastered machines, mapped the stars, and built cities from steel, yet cannot master its own emotions? This is not a history lesson. This is not a news report. And this is not a plea for peace. This is a reckoning, an excavation of the soul beneath the rubble of bombs and flags, a study of human foolishness, written in the blood of kings and children alike. This is a Stoic dissection of war, of the ancient undying sickness of nations that mirrors the silent war inside each of us. Stay, subscribe and watch until the end, because this is not about Iran and Israel alone. It is about you, about the storm in your chest, about the battles you've waged in secret, and the wisdom you must now reclaim. The conflict between Iran and Israel is not new. It is not clean, and it will not end with treaties written in ink. It is layered, a mosaic of ideology, religion, pride, history, territory, and vengeance. The ghosts of past empires walk its borders. The air itself has memory, memory of betrayal, of revolution, of ambition cloaked in divine mandate. Iran, heir to the Persian Empire, bears the scars of foreign interference and internal tyranny. Israel, born from ashes of the Holocaust, forged in deserts and defended with blood, stands as both fortress and symbol. Both hold ancient claims, both carry modern fear, and neither will back down without imagining dishonor. What you must understand is this: war does not begin with missiles. It begins with pride, with unexamined anger, with leaders too frightened to look weak, with people too wounded to forgive. Marcus Aurelius said, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." But what empire has ever chosen calm? Now turn your gaze inward. You are not a nation. You are not an army. But you are at war. You war against your own instincts. You war against your past, your shame, your cravings, your envy. And just like nations, you often fail to sit at the table of reason. You lash out. You defend when no attack has come. You seek control when only understanding is needed. And like Iran or Israel, you gather weapons, words, habits, excuses, until one day you erupt and someone gets hurt. Epictetus warned, when someone irritates you, realize that it is not the person's actions that disturb you, but your judgment about them. And yet, how often have you judged in haste? How often have you played the tyrant in your own mind? Every war is rooted in pride, a refusal to appear weak, a fear of losing face. So too with you. When you hold on to an argument long after reason has left the room, when you punish others just to prove you were right, when you sabotage your peace to win a temporary battle, you are no better than empires sending drones over borders. Remember Gaius Musonius Rufus. It is not living according to nature to rage or retaliate. The wise man yields, not in cowardice but in strength. The world respects Apple not because it never failed, but because it fell and rose again. After being nearly bankrupt in the 1990s, it did not lash out at rivals. It reinvented. It absorbed the wound. It returned with wisdom. Do the same. Anger will tell you that war is justice, that revenge is righteousness, that if you don't respond, you will be trampled. But Stoicism tells you, anger is the fire that burns the house you built. Napoleon let his rage at Russia and his obsession with power cost him an empire. Gandhi, by contrast, mastered his anger and redirected it into unshakable resolve. Any person capable of angering you, wrote Epictetus, becomes your master. Who is mastering you right now? A boss? A partner? A parent long gone? Why are you still taking orders from ghosts? Release them. Let no one mistake Stoicism for softness. Peace is not surrender. Israel's strength is built on vigilance. Iran's endurance, too, is carved from centuries of resistance. There is wisdom in boundaries, strength in discipline. But wisdom without restraint becomes cruelty, and restraint without wisdom becomes decay. Be like Microsoft after its legal battles and early reputation for domination. It adapted, becoming a model of integration and collaboration. Its wisdom was not in retreat, but in transformation. Your job is not to submit. Your job is to learn when to hold the sword and when to melt it into a plowshare. Why do nations go to war? Because they are afraid. Afraid of appearing weak. Afraid of being overtaken. Afraid of losing their story. And so it is with you. You do not speak your truth because you fear rejection. You do not change careers because you fear failure. You do not apologize because you fear surrender. But Stoicism is a call to courage, not noise, but stillness. Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon not in madness, but in calculated courage. His failure came later, when pride overtook wisdom. Act from principle, not panic. Even in the darkest wars, wise leaders have sought reconciliation. Lincoln, during America's Civil War, envisioned peace before victory. Mandela forgave his jailers. Churchill, though hardened by war, still knew diplomacy was not cowardice. Likewise, you must practice inner diplomacy. Speak to the part of yourself you've exiled. Negotiate with your guilt. Reconcile with your past, not by forgetting it, but by seeing it clearly. Sony, after failing to compete with Apple's iPod, didn't declare war. They evolved and returned. You can too. The Roman Empire ruled the known world. It collapsed. Ottomans, Mongols, British, Soviets, gone, but character remains. The values of those who ruled wisely still echo. Marcus Aurelius' meditations outlived his empire. Epictetus' words reached beyond his slaves' chains. Do not build your identity like a fortress. It will crumble. Build it like a philosophy. Flexible, eternal. Amazon didn't rise by mimicking Walmart. It forged a new path. When their old models failed, they didn't cling. They pivoted. So too must you. When your strength no longer serves you, find a new kind. The world reflects what we tolerate in ourselves. Iran and Israel reflect generations of unresolved pain, just as your family reflects your own emotional inheritance. What you do not face, you will pass on. What you do not heal will echo in your children. Carl Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Make the unconscious conscious, or remain a nation at war with yourself. Number 8. Stoicism is armor for an unsteady world. This philosophy is not for monks in caves. It is for leaders, fighters, thinkers, workers, and parents. It is for you. It is armor, not to hide, but to endure. It is fire, not to destroy, but to forge. When the world shouts, the Stoic listens. When enemies rise, the Stoic responds, not in wrath, but in wisdom. This is what Disney did after early bankruptcy, returned to its mythic roots, reimagined itself, and emerged stronger. Wisdom is not avoidance, it is transformation. In every war-torn city, there is always a survivor who wanders through the rubble, asking not what was destroyed, but why it was ever built on such fragile ground. Be that survivor. Be the philosopher in the ashes. When your relationships collapse, do not mourn like a ruler who lost a province. Mourn like a Stoic who understands impermanence. Ask, was it built on wisdom or pride? When your career crumbles like a fallen empire, do not scramble to rebuild the exact same walls. Ask, were those walls ever strong? Or were they just tall? A Stoic does not cry over the inevitable. He learns from it. He sees war and loss, not as the end, but as revelation. Just as Israel and Iran, despite their hardened borders, carry within them poets, prophets, visionaries, the soul of a people seeking meaning beyond territory, so do you. Beneath your hardened beliefs, your defense mechanisms, your silent angers, there is still a seeker. The true war is between the seeker and the mask. Iran and Israel both claim righteousness. Both invoke history, both warn of existential threat, and yet both, in different ways, have become trapped by their own image. Iran, often ruled by ideological certainty, has strangled dissent to maintain unity. Israel, founded on survival, has increasingly walled itself off, literally and metaphorically. When you build your life around being right or strong or admired, you create the same trap. Tesla rose because it dared to defy the gas-powered status quo. But if it becomes intoxicated by its own myth, its fall will be inevitable. So too with you. Be wary of your victories. Be suspicious of praise. Let neither become your prison. Don't aim to be consistent, said Epictetus. Aim to be true. Truth may make you change direction. Truth may make you lose followers. Truth may cost you status, but it will free you. Every country sees itself as the hero. Every man does too. Iran sees itself resisting imperialism. Israel sees itself defending survival. Both stories hold truth, but neither is the whole truth. Likewise, you may see yourself as the betrayed one, the victim, the one who tried. But look deeper. Carl Jung taught us that the things we hate in others are often reflections of what we've denied in ourselves. The tyrant you despise in others, he may live quietly in how you treat yourself. The manipulator you accuse, perhaps echoes in how you twist your own thoughts. The coward you ridicule, maybe he's the voice you ignore when you choose comfort over courage. Do not be a nation that only sees the enemy in others. Recognize the borders you built inside your mind and dismantle them. You cry for justice. The world does. Iran and Israel both speak the language of justice. But justice, without mastery of the self, quickly becomes vengeance. Justice without humility becomes domination. True Stoic justice is not about punishing the other. It is about restoring balance in yourself and the world. Nelson Mandela understood this. After 27 years in prison, he emerged not as a man bent on revenge, but as a statesman with the patience of a mountain. Do you want justice? Be Begin with the war inside. Bring order there. Then carry that order outward. Only then will your justice not rot into pride. Peace is not a treaty. It is not a handshake. It is not an end to violence. It is a discipline, a practice, a calling. Marcus Aurelius led Rome during plague and war, and yet his journal, written nightly, was a song of peace. Because peace is not external, it is internal readiness. Disney's Renaissance came not when the world changed, but when its leaders returned to the creative integrity they had long neglected. They found peace by returning to their roots. You too must return to the root, to the quiet strength beneath the noise, not once, but every day. Picture now a vast desert, an ancient land soaked with the blood of empires. In the distance, two cities stand facing each other, weapons drawn, prophets silenced. Between them a single traveler walks, cloaked in silence, carving a path not toward either city but beyond both. That traveler is you. You are not here to choose sides. You are here to choose truth, to walk between the fury of nations and the echo of your own wounds, to carry the torch of ancient wisdom across a battlefield where reason died, to rebuild, not in steel, not in flags, but in choices, in discipline, in virtue, in a life that, though no one may see it, is a fortress of peace. If you've made it this far, then you are not like others. You are not here for entertainment. You are here for transformation. So subscribe, like, not for algorithmic gain, but as a quiet commitment to yourself, a pledge that the war ends here. And now I ask you, what is the most dangerous war you are fighting silently? And are you ready to lay down your sword? And ponder this. What is the war within you that you have refused to name? Share it in the comments so that every human seeking a transformative life can learn, be inspired, be strong, and use it as a source to fuel their inner fire of determination and undying will to conquer the war within. Write it below. Let others see they are not alone. And when you are ready, walk with us into the next video. There, we'll go deeper into the chains of power, the temptations of ego, and how to build an empire, not with conquest, but with character. The world burns. If Iran and Israel both claim to be right, then who truly wins when both sides lose their humanity in the process? Can a nation claim strength if it cannot find the wisdom to avoid war? And can a man claim wisdom if he fuels conflict within his own soul? What if the real war isn't between Iran and Israel, but within every man who refuses to master his emotions? That question echoes louder than bombs, louder than breaking news banners, louder than the politicians who promise peace and prepare for blood. It is not about Iran, it is not about Israel, it is not about war, it is about you. Because before nations collapse, men collapse. Before borders are torn apart, the mind tears itself apart. And before missiles fill the sky, there is a silence inside every human being, where fear, pride, power, and pain begin their secret war. If you've ever felt that silence, this video was made for you. If you've ever been in search of answers to these questions, this video was made for you. Let us build fireproof souls.